All right, guys. So today I want to do a video on a young man that I know by the name of Travis. So Travis is the younger brother of a gentleman who is a former friend of mine, a former friend of 30 plus years. And before you guys jump in the comment section and ask, 30 years, how come you guys aren't friends anymore? I will be doing another video in the future on another topic that will encompass the story of why he and I are no longer friends. But today's video is about his younger brother by the name of Travis. Now, let's talk a little bit about Travis before we get into this story. Travis is 4 years younger than his older brother. Okay. Travis is not the most intelligent young man. He's very arrogant and he's very conceited. He prides himself a lot on his physical appearance and the fact that young girls within his age bracket at the time found that to be something that was attractive. Travis is also very, very rebellious. Okay, very difficult to very difficult to communicate with. Okay, he's rebellious, he's arrogant, he's not the most intelligent. Um, yeah, Travis just got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, but with all that being said, Travis comes from a good family. As I said, his older brother and I were friends for 30 plus years. So he has an older brother and an older sister. He has his mom and his father are all in the same house. So he comes from a very good family, very good upbringing. Now, because I was so close to the family, you know, they looked at me somewhat as like his older brother, like another, like he has an additional brother because his older brother and I are best friends at that time. So Travis is Travis always had this kind of weird adoration towards me. Okay. Now I don't know what it was based off of. I don't know if Travis thought, okay, this guy's handsome, women like him, so maybe I should be, try to make myself more handsome. I don't know if it was based off of how I dressed, the clothes, the color combinations, maybe it was how intelligent I spoke. I'm not sure what it was. Again, I didn't really entertain a lot of Travis's shenanigans, during that time. I just knew that we had this kid that was a younger brother of my best friend that in some weird way kind of looked up to me. Okay. Now, Travis, with that competition, I'll say, oh, I said competition. It was not a competition. I'm sorry. With Travis having that adoration towards me, Travis he would try to do things like he would try to dress like me. He would try to be into the same things that I was into. He would oftentimes when he received his money to go school shopping, he would go buy possibly multiple outfits that were the exact same as an outfit that he had seen me wear, but he would change something to it. Like maybe he would wear it with a different pair of shoes, or maybe he would wear it with a different hat, a do rag, a scully, something like that to try to enhance or put his own little personal spin on my outfit. And he would constantly say things to me like, "Yeah, I'm rocking your outfit better than you rock it," or I mean, just stuff that made absolutely no difference in the world to me, but I guess it made him feel as though he was winning whatever little secret competition he had with me. Now, Travis was always having a lot of tension with his older brother. Now, I don't know if it was due to the simple sibling rivalry or it could have been, a lot of his immaturity because Travis was very immature at the same time. He would often do things intentionally to provoke an emotional response out of you and then try to use that emotional response to make somebody else think differently of you, if that makes any sense at all. Okay. So oftentimes he would say something to you that would like really upset you, or he would do something that would provoke an emotional response, and then he would run to the protection of his mom. Now, his mother, like I said, very good woman. His mother would always be very quick to protect him and to diffuse whatever tension there is that involves him. Um, Specifically because when she was younger, there were two guys that she knew. They were brothers, and one of them had ended up unaliving the other one due to some petty tension that was taking place between them. And because of that traumatic experience, anytime there's any tension involving Travis specifically, she would do whatever she needed to do to diffuse the situation and to provide a certain amount of protection towards him. She spent a lot of energy coddling Travis, and he took advantage of that. He knew that he can do certain things and get away with it as long as he ran to her protection. Like a child would, do. Um, Mind you, he's a teenager at the time that all these things are taking place. Okay, so due to a lot of that tension, there was always arguments between the two brothers, Travis and his brother, different tiffs in and around the house. Um, Now, during this time, older brother, which was my former friend, always wanted to like really beat the brakes off of Travis. Like he would get that upset that he really wanted to beat the brakes off of this kid. Now, Travis and he have different fathers. So in the house, it's Travis's father. They share the same mother, okay? And Travis has an older sister who is also his father's daughter, okay? So my former friend is the only child that's the odd one out, okay? So we would have these conversations with Travis's father while we were doing work, because at the time I would do contracting work with Travis's father and his older brother. We would go into different people's houses and we would, do things like painting, demolition of the kitchen, bathroom, stuff like that. So on the way to work one day, I'm not sure what Travis had done to his older brother. Maybe it was the night before, or maybe it was the morning of, but he was really pissed, and he was talking to Travis's father, and I had to chime in on it, and we're like, "Yo, listen, man, if y'all not gonna discipline this guy, why don't you let me do it?" You know what I'm saying? Because if he's behaving that way in the house and ain't nothing being done about it, when he get out here in the street and do that same thing, man, these dudes out here in the hood, they not having none of that, man. He gonna be in a terrible situation. He might even be 6 feet deep. And the father, he kind of knew and understood where we were coming from, okay? But at the same time, it was kind of like he couldn't do anything about it because his wife, which was Travis's mom, wouldn't allow it because of a traumatic experience that she had. And one thing I can say about Travis's father is he is in fact a good husband, okay? So he has two really really good parents, a good mother, a good father. Yeah, so she would protect him. Our message wouldn't get through, even though he would kind of laugh it off. He knew. I think he like quietly agreed. He just, his hands were tied, so he couldn't do anything about it. So while I'm best friends with Travis's older brother, okay, Travis also has a best friend of his own. His best friend is was named Kenny. Now, a little bit of background on Kenny. Kenny and Travis, same age. I believe they met in either elementary school, late elementary school or something like that. Been friends for years, okay? Very good friends. Kenny is somewhat of I want to say he's like a pretty boy, okay? Kenny is uh, like a like a light brown skinned guy, and he's got that different texture hair, that stuff that's like when the sun hits it, it looks kind of shiny, is the best way I can describe it. He's got that kind of hair naturally, right? Travis, Travis doesn't have that kind of hair. Travis got regular old nigga hair. He got regular old black people hair. His hair is like my beard hair. You know what I mean? So Travis, in order to get hair that looks like Kenny, Travis was really into these things, and they're probably still in the grocery stores now. You can probably still find them in CVS. These things called S curls, okay? And what an S curl was just like this. It's like this jar of mayonnaise looking shit that you put in your hair, or you rub it through your hair, or you comb it into your hair. You apply that shit evenly to your hair, and you let it sit in there for whatever amount of time the instructions say. And then when you rinse it out, your hair is like a different texture. It looks kind of like Kenny's hair naturally looks, right? Travis would be doing shit like that to try to make his hair look like Kenny's hair. He didn't like the fact that Kenny had a texture of hair that he didn't have, because Kenny would get a lot of young ladies would always want to touch Kenny's hair. They would always want to talk to him. They would always want to they'd give him their phone number just based off of something as simple as his hair. So when Travis noticed this, Travis wanted to copy that. because that's what he was. He was a copycat. And in layman's terms, Travis is a copycat. If he finds something that you're doing well or something that's working well for you, he wants to find a way to copy it, to and kind of recreate it with his own personal spin on it. If that makes if that makes any kind of sense. Okay. So I said Kenny was brown skinned. He had this different texture hair, and he was more of a like a lover boy, like a little pretty boy. Like it's strange because he would do a lot of things that little boys would do, but he always had kind of like a just a slight bit of femininity to it. Like if you call Kenny's phone, well, if you call a guy's phone, like most dudes, when you call their phone, they're gonna answer the phone and be like, "Yo, what's good? What's up? What's going on? Yep, you're some shit like that." You call Kenny's phone, he's gonna pick the phone. He's gonna be like, "Yes." Almost like he's being inconvenienced because you summoned him or some shit like that. It was always strange to me. Now Kenny grew up in a single parent home. He grew up with just his mom. I'm not sure what his situation was with his father, but I know his father was not in the house. So it was Kenny, his older brother, who was I think 3 years older than him, and his mom were the only ones in the house. Okay, so Kenny and Travis, like I said, they were good friends. Now Kenny Kenny, a few years into their relationship, like once they became adults, Kenny's mom ended up passing away. Okay, and I mean she passed away young. I don't even think his mother had turned 50 yet. Kenny himself, I don't even believe he had turned 25 yet, and she passed away young, and it was pretty early in Kenny's life. So that was something that was devastating to Kenny, needless to say. So his mom left. I don't know if it was a life insurance policy or whether it was a will. She left something behind for he and his brother, and it got split. A large lump sum of money was split, evenly distributed between he and his brother. So, despite the fact that Kenny had lost his mom, Kenny had, some financial backing. And you can only imagine what Kenny's going to do as a young man in his early 20s who just came into a large amount of money and is grieving. Okay. Kenny starts immediately buying like clothes, shoes. He's always got weed with him. Um, uh, he always kept his dreads done because originally Kenny had regular hair, like a regular low cut hair, a regular low haircut, right? When his mom passed away, in honor of his mother's life, he decided that he was never going to get another haircut again. And instead, he was going to allow his hair to grow and dread it up like his mom because she had dreads when she passed away. So that was kind of like his, what he was doing in honor of his mother's memory. So, once he gets a hold of this money, Kenny starts doing what you expect a young guy in his early 20s to do: clothes, shoes. He's always got weed. He's fresh. He's like fresh to death, like all the time. He went out and bought himself two automobiles. Now, at that time, the two automobiles that were the most popular amongst people who did not want to have a car note were Chevy Crown Victorias and Bubble Caprices. Everybody wanted one of those older style cars, and they wanted to put their rims on it and all of that kind of stuff. So Kenny goes out, he goes and gets both of those cars because I'm not sure of the amount of money that he received, but it was enough for him to be comfortable for quite some time. So now that Kenny has, fresh gear and all of that stuff, Travis sees this and Kenny has now been elevated. Okay. Because there was somewhat of a competition going on between Kenny and Travis. Who could get the most girls, and the better quality of girls, who got the best gear on and all of that kind of stuff, right? As I told you, Kenny naturally had a different texture of hair. So in order to try to level out the competition, level out the playing field, Travis would go S curl his hair to try to draw the same amount of attention that Kenny was receiving for his natural hair, right? So now that Kenny has been financially elevated, the competition is over. Okay, they're Travis's gear is nowhere near that of Kenny's. Kenny is always fresh shoes, whatever the latest stuff is, North Face steep tech jackets. He got two cars, not one, two. Travis doesn't have any. Like it's over. Like the odds are forever in Kenny's favor right now. And Kenny is, like I said, he's not Kenny, he's not a bad looking dude. You know, he's not. I mean, I guess I could see why girls would, maybe be like, oh, I'm gonna talk to him. He's got nice hair. He's thin. Uh, I don't know. I mean, he's not a bad looking dude. He's not hideous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could see how girls would find him attractive. If off of nothing but the hair alone, I can see that being a prime factor. Now, with Travis noticing that Kenny is now gaining all of this attention, that's when jealousy sets in. Okay. Now, let's be clear. Kenny was getting all of the stuff that he was getting, not because of any competition with Travis. He was getting this stuff because he was grieving, and this was how he was trying to cope with the loss of his mother. The clothes, the cars, the gear, the weed, none of this had anything to do with Travis. As far as Kenny was concerned, that competition, that was over with. Like, he wasn't thinking anything about that stuff. But Travis, on the other hand, definitely saw Kenny's financial elevation, regardless of the reason. He saw that financial elevation, and he was very threatened by that. Okay, so come along. Like I said, Kenny's having success with women. Travis is having his success too, but it's not the same kind of success. Obviously, it's not so much that Travis can do. So what happens was, Kenny and Travis, they're out one day, and there was this young lady, nice looking young lady. Okay, she was both of their types. They had a similar type. She fell within the criteria that both of them liked. Um, and she was put in a position where she had to make a choice about which one of them she was going to talk to, because they both were pretty much in her face. You can imagine that she chose Kenny. Why? Once again, Kenny had dreaded hair. His hair was of a different texture. He had better gear on, all of this stuff. So, I mean, she chose Kenny. Travis did not like that, could not stand that. Okay. So, Travis, now realizing that the odds are in Kenny's favor, he's now trying to find a way to once again level out the playing field. If he got this shiny natural hair, I'm gonna go get this S curl to level out the playing field. But now he's trying to figure out a way to level out the financial playing field. Okay. So Travis got into, I don't know how, he was always trying to look for the latest and greatest get rich quick scheme. Like, I can buy this and I can flip it, or I can he was always trying to figure out a way that he can get rich quick with something that was like, dude, that ain't gonna work. Again, Travis knew that he wasn't the most intelligent, so he's not going to be able to get that high paying job. All right. He was very arrogant and rebellious, so he knew that even working for somebody wasn't going to be the best look for him, because he more than likely was going to be fired because he couldn't do what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it in exchange for this paycheck, right? So, like I said, the get rich quick schemes, they quickly became a thing. Now, Kenny goes on and he begins dating this particular young lady. Like I said, she sees everything that he got going on. She see the gear, she see the clothes, she see he always got a tree in his pocket. She kind of peeps like he got a little bit of money. Now, I'm not sure what her motives were. Okay. Let me be clear with this. I don't know if her motives were rooted in, I really like this young man, I know he's going through something difficult, let me be there for him, or whether her motives were more so rooted in, I'm gonna gain access to this money that this dude got. She ends up falling on financial hard times. She's staying with her mom, and they are, when I say financially difficult time, they're having trouble paying their rent. Well, that ain't nothing to Kenny. He's like, yeah, you know what, I got you. You know what I'm saying? You know, you my girl or whatever. I'm gonna help you, pay your rent for a couple months till you or your mom or both of y'all get back on y'all feet. You know what I mean? Kenny was doing this because he genuinely is that type of guy. Like I told you earlier, Kenny is a lover boy, pretty boy kind of dude. So if there's anything that he can do to appease a woman, he's going to do that. And because this particular girl was his actual girlfriend, I mean, it made more sense for him to do it. Travis can't stand this. Travis wants this young lady. Not only does he wants this young lady for himself, he also can't stand the fact that Kenny is elevated so much more above him in terms of finances and everything. So Travis is using his he's taking his jealousy, but he's trying to make himself look like he's a concerned friend. And he's trying to tell Kenny, like, look, man, you don't need to be talking to her. She using you for your money. Why you helping her pay her rent? Why she always smoking your weed? Like stuff that he really honestly you really shouldn't be concerned with. And one thing about a man, once a man makes a decision, you're really not gonna change his or influence his decision to be changed. Okay. This is his girlfriend. Kenny's doing what he feels he needs to do. Now, I don't know what her motives were, like I just stated, but if she's playing him, let Kenny find out the hard way. It's not your place to kind of I, as a friend, I could see why you might want to, but so Kenny eventually got tired of hearing Travis complain about his girlfriend. Okay. So anytime Travis would ask about this particular girl, Kenny would just be like, yeah, man, nah, we don't even talk no more. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen her in a couple months. I ain't talked to her in a few weeks. Like, just to keep Travis out of his business because he's trying to, I guess, salvage what friendship they have left. Cause he doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like Travis is really doing a lot to get Kenny away from this particular girl. I personally think that Travis was only doing it because he felt slighted at the fact that she picked him. So he was trying his chance to get this same particular girl. But Travis didn't believe Kenny. Or let me not say, I don't know if he did or didn't believe him, but what he would do or what he started doing, and I have no idea how he did this shit, okay? Because I think this is where he started to go down the wrong path. During the time, phone bills would be mailed to you in paper and they would print your whole bill presentment online for whoever your cell phone carrier was. They would print that online. So the same thing they send you in mail, you can look at it online on your courier's website, right? You can see every single phone call that you've made, the duration of the calls, whether there was any additional charges like long distance calls or stuff like that. They would show all that on online. I don't know how. Okay. Travis found some kind of way to hack into Kenny's cell phone account online. Okay. Now, he didn't have access to his phone and whatever data was on his phone, but he found a way to hack into his account online. And in doing so, he was able to see every single phone call that Kenny had been making, the duration of those calls. So he went through his his phone bill to look at what phone number he saw up there the most and the amount of time spent, and came to the conclusion that this is the one that I'm gonna call to figure out if this is this girl's number. So Travis eventually calls this number from a blocked number, asks can he speak to her by name to confirm that that was indeed her phone number. So now he knows that Kenny had been lying to him, that Kenny is still in fact talking to this girl. And he feels like so long as Kenny is talking to this girl, I'm not going to be able to shoot my shot because, like I said, the playing field is not leveled. Kenny got something that I don't got. I need to figure out a way to get it. Okay. Travis ends up meeting uh, some guy from Nigeria that was going to teach him how to scam. Now, before y'all jump in my comment section, no offense to anybody from Nigeria, okay? I work with a lot of people from Nigeria, both Yoruba and Igbo tribes. But because you're from Nigeria, I'm sure you guys know that it is a well-known and common fact that throughout the rest of the continent of Africa, everybody in every other African country will tell you don't mess with anybody from Nigeria. They are con artists, they are scammers. That's what they do. They will find a way to cheat you out of your money. That being said, you guys already know that, so you shouldn't take any offense to me saying it here in this particular video. Travis ends up meeting some guy from Nigeria, okay? And this guy ends up teaching Travis how to create like forged counterfeit credit cards, okay? He I think he ended up spending something like $1,000 for some little machine that was able to make the credit cards in the exact dimensions that they actually come in. And I guess it obviously must have had something to do with like data strips or whatever the black strip is on the back of your card. It must have had something to do with that. I don't know how it works, but Travis ended up like spending money to get one of those machines from this Nigerian guy. And then obviously the Nigerian guy taught him how to use this particular machine. All right. So fast forward a few weeks after getting this machine, Travis has now learned entirely how to forge a credit card. Now I don't know how he was getting uh um people's credit card accounts so that he can know what kind of balances they had on them and stuff like that. But he did. He ended up having access to this stuff. He used to like literally take this machine and make a forged credit card and assign somebody's account information to it. Now he was looking at all like whatever he needed. When he needed to get something like material, whether it was clothes, shoes, whatever he wanted to do, he would just forge a credit card with the balance that he needed, use it, and then be done. At this time, identity theft was rampant. So there wasn't a whole lot that was being done. If somebody, worst case scenario, somebody's going to get their credit card statement and they're going to see that they got all these charges that they don't know anything about. They're going to call the company, say that's identity theft. They're going to maybe make a police report and then use the police report to prove to the company that it wasn't them, and then the company would just wipe out the charges. Like I said, at this time, identity theft was running rampant, and I think that's the reason why that's the scam that he got into. Remember, Travis is always looking for get rich quick schemes. So with this credit card thing that he was doing, he wasn't rich, okay, but he kind of was. He had unlimited access to credit that can be used to get whatever it was that he wanted. He started buying clothes to keep up with Kenny, shoes. He bought a car. He started taking all these lavish trips to Hawaii or Dominica, Jamaica, Puerto Rico. He just started going on all these trips, and he was always using these credit cards to finance these things, right? So word of what Travis was doing started going around to a lot of his friends because they started paying attention. Like, yo, what's good, man? What you doing for work, bro? You fresh? You always fresh now. All of a sudden, what you got going on? And he just kind of laughed it off, like, man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't working nowhere. I do my little thing, man. I got my little side hustles, this and that and other. Da 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 da. He started telling guys exactly what he was doing, and now they looking like, for real. So he was like, if and so how much you gonna charge me to get this particular thing? And for him, no big deal. He would look at the cost of whatever the item was, and he would come up with a price that was substantially lower than the retail value. And he would use a forged credit card to order whatever it was that his friends wanted. He would pay the full price on his credit card, and then he would sell it to them for a fraction of the price. Because to him, now he's making money appear almost out of thin air. You know what I mean? Because he's got credit, an unlimited supply, unlimited access to credit accounts with a balance, with a theoretically an unlimited balance. You know what I mean? He's now targeting these $10,000 credit cards, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 credit cards. He's targeting these high credit line credit cards so that he can do all of these kind of things. And like I said, he'd just sell it to you. Once he got it, he'd just sell it to a friend for a fraction of the price, because now he's just making money hand over fist. Every time they want something, Gucci, uh, uh, any of those high end retail stuff, they always want to go to Travis to get it instead of paying full price. So when he started doing that, he realized I can make money doing this. So put the word out, let everybody everybody that you cool with, only the people that you cool with, that if they need something, just let them know you got a man that can get them what they want for way less. And all they need to do is let me know what it is they want. And what he would do, he would go online. He would have them send him a link so he can see exactly what it is. He would go online, order with a credit card, have it come to his house. When it gets to him, he would call them, let them know it's there. They would show up. They would give him whatever designated amount of money they agreed on. Transaction done. Rinse and repeat. And he was using that to get his paper, because Travis never could keep a job. And like I said, because of his attitude, his rebelliousness, his personality, he was not somebody that was suited to be an employee. But now he's making what shit he on any given day, this dude he might charge, he might get, you might take $20,000 worth of merchandise, maybe, And you might say, hey, Travis, man, I got $2,000, man. I'm trying to get this, and this. And the balance of all of that shit might end up being close to $20,000. You give him your income tax return, which was $2,000. He then gave you everything that you wanted, designer, you know what I mean, for $2,000. And for him, that's light work. That's nothing. This shit went on for months, right? Now, after that, he did that for, like I said, for a few months. His friends were always like taking advantage of that. He ends up meeting this young lady online because him and Kenny, they just kind of fell out when Travis realized that he couldn't beat Kenny in that exact moment and get that particular girl that he wanted. Once he got into the credit cards and he felt like he was financially elevated too, he just kind of forgot about that particular girl. Kenny continued to date that girl, and their friendship just kind of slowly dissolved. It's like they went in separate paths. Travis, he ends up moving to Pennsylvania. He had met some young Caucasian girl online on some dating app. I don't know, he met her on the internet someplace, and through them talking and stuff like that, you know what I mean. He felt like, oh, I like her. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go see what's up with her. He moved to Pennsylvania, where she lived. She lived in like one of those like trailer parks. Like I did not know you had stuff like that in Pennsylvania, but very similar to what Eminem's girlfriend, or not Eminem's girlfriend. What is the name of the movie? 8 Mile. Well, Eminem's character B Rabbit lived in like a trailer park. She lived in something like that. And in fact, she was very much like Eminem's girlfriend was in that particular movie, or ex-girlfriend, or whatever the hell she was. She was very much like the girl that Eminem had broken up with. But Travis, he kind of craves that kind of shit, that toxicity. He kind of craves that kind of shit, right? He ends up moving up to Pennsylvania to live with this girl. Now, while he's in Pennsylvania, he kind of establishes a similar clientele up there. Now, it took him a while to do it because he wasn't from the area. He didn't know a lot of people. But over a period of time, he met some guys, some people that he thought were cool enough to let them know, this is what I can do. Anything you want, just let me know. I can order it for you, and I can get it to you for less than half the price. You know what I mean? And he started doing it up there. Now, I can't remember the area in Pennsylvania he moved into, but it was not. It was like a town that was very that racially discriminated against people that look like me. Okay, Travis, while much lighter than me, Travis still, he and I are of the same ethnicity. Where he moved, they were very, very discriminative towards people who looked like me. So you can imagine being a gentleman of my ethnicity living in that town, and you're dating a young lady of the same ethnicity that that town favors. You're gonna be looked at as a problem, right? Travis wasn't gonna let that bother you. Like I told you, Travis is very arrogant and he is very rebellious. Okay, so Travis continued running his little operation up there in Pennsylvania, and what ultimately happened was his friends who were down in where he was originally from, his home state, when they're not seeing him anymore and they want stuff, they're still calling him and trying to figure out a way to get the stuff that they want. They don't want to lose this connection at all, right? So what he started doing was saying, all right, look, this is how I'm gonna do this. Let me know what you want. I'm gonna order it, and I'm gonna have it sent to my mom's house, to my parents' house. That's where my older brother stays, and I'll have my older brother facilitate the transaction between you and him. So I'll order it, and when it gets there, he'll let me know, and then I'll call you, let you know that you can go to my parents' house, meet my brother, and you give him the money, and then he'll give you your merchandise. So now he's got clientele established in his home state and up in Pennsylvania, where he currently resides. But one day in Pennsylvania, he's driving along, and he's got a car. He's got a trunk full of shit because that was his operation had to be a little different up there. Now he could send stuff to his parents' house and have his brother facilitate it in his home state, but in Pennsylvania, he couldn't really do that. She lived in a trailer park, so it wasn't made for storage. So anytime he had shit, he would literally spend all day driving it around to whomever, giving it to them, getting the cash from them on hand. So his operation had to be ran differently up there. So one day in Pennsylvania, Travis is driving. He's doing his regular routine. He's making his rounds to go to the places so he can deliver off the items. And police are behind him. Okay. Police put their lights on, um, signaling him to pull over. They pull over behind him. They get out of the car. They come approaching his car. Yes, sir. We need your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. So, all the usual stuff that they normally ask for. And he's trying to figure out, what did y'all pull me over for? And they found some little bogus reason. Like, it wasn't a valid reason. You didn't come to a complete stop at this stop sign. You didn't signal when you made this last turn. It was some bogus reason, just a reason to be able to stop his car. Mind you, when they saw him, they were basically racially profiling him. They saw him, they knew that, hey, wait a minute, this guy is of that ethnicity that we don't prefer in this particular area. Let's find a reason to fuck with him. Okay, so they pull him over, and Travis, like I said, is not the most intelligent. So they're like, yeah, we need to search your vehicle for this and that and the other. Travis doesn't know the law. He doesn't know that a police officer cannot search your vehicle without a warrant. That is considered illegal. Unless that police officer can see something that is illegal in plain sight, such as a firearm, a person that has their mouth taped or a hog tied in your back seat, some shit like that, an open container alcohol. Unless it's in plain sight, he doesn't have the lawful right um, to search your vehicle. Travis don't know this. So Travis, they walking around his car, they opening doors, they looking all around. They're like, yeah, you pop the trunk. He pops the trunk again. He don't know. And in the trunk, they see boxes of shoes. They see clothes that's inside of like plastic, still inside of plastic ziploc type things. And they're looking through all of this shit. And they're like, yeah, what's all of this you got going on back here? And he's like, yeah, nothing. That's just my clothes, my shoes, and all of that. And they like, what size shoe you wear? So he's like, I wear a size 9. And they like, well, why you got shoes back here that are a size 5? Some shoes back here that are for women. Some shoes back here that are size 12. Like, why you got so many different sizes? And he's like, yo, do it matter? You know what I'm saying? It's my stuff. You know what I mean? And they like, as they're going through these boxes of shoes to keep trying to identify the sizes, they come across one box that has a wad of cash in it, like all the cash that he had collected that day, which was like 10 bands. For those of you who don't know, that's $10,000 in cash that he had. This is the kind of money he was making doing these credit card things. They like, yeah, they find all of this cash. They find a bogus reason to charge him with something. And the charge, it was so petty, whatever it was. But they particularly wanted to place that charge on him because he had that $10,000 in cash. And they can say, we had to confiscate money from him. They don't say the amount of money that they confiscated from him. And they take a large portion, probably like 90% of the money, and they split it evenly amongst themselves so that they can do whatever the fuck they wanted to do with it, right? They end up locking him up in jail with a court date set. I can't remember what the charges were, but they were some weak ass misdemeanor charges. He ends up getting convicted because he doesn't know how to defend himself in court. Either that, or it's just because he's in an area where they don't give a fuck whether you're of the wrong ethnicity. He ends up getting convicted on misdemeanor whatever. He does like 4 to 6 months in jail up there, right? Now, mind you, while he's in jail, people are still trying to get a hold of him so that they can get whatever stuff it is they want. Because new merchandise is always coming out. It's always going to be some new Louis Vuitton belt, some whatever the fuck it was. This shit is always going to be new. Okay, there was an area um at that time in Washington D.C. I remember the area was called City Center, DC. It's right next to Gallery Place in Chinatown. And in that area, that's where all the high-end retail stores are. You got a Gucci, Ferragamo, Christian Dior, Burberry, Louis Vuitton, you name it, Carolina Herrera, Montclair. They have all of that stuff right there. That's where a lot of the stuff that his clientele, they wanted. So in his home base, people wanted these things. So what he was doing was simply, all right, look, bet I'm gonna order it. It's gonna go to my parents' house, like I told you before. But he was locked up. So they're still calling him because new stuff is being released. They want it. They can't get in contact with him because he's in jail. He doesn't have access to a phone, none of that shit, right? So what they start doing was calling his brother. They can't, his brother can't do what he can do. His brother doesn't have the credit cards, the ability to do none of that stuff. So, you know what I mean? When they couldn't get in contact with his brother, some of his friends started calling my phone, right? Now, I remember one day my phone rings and I answer it and it's like, "Hey, yo, Rayhan, what's good?" I'm like, "Fuck is this?" "This Tony, man." And I'm like, "Tony? The fuck you calling me for?" "Oh, now I'm just trying to see if, you know what I mean, last time you talked to that nigga Travis, man, I'm trying to get in contact with that nigga Travis." I'm like, "So why the fuck are you calling my phone? Nigga, call his phone or call his brother's phone, call his sister's phone, call somebody who live in the same house with him. What you calling me for?" They like, "Oh nah, they ain't answering. They acting like they don't really know." You know what I mean? Like I can't really talk to nobody and this and that and the third, right? So I'm like, yeah, nigga, yeah, do something else then. Nigga. Don't call my phone no more. But they was fiending for whatever it was that they wanted new, right? So time goes by, he ends up getting out of prison or jail, should I say. When he gets out of jail, he decides to kind of lay low up in the area in Pennsylvania where he was. But in terms of his home base, he was still rocking that. He was still going to do that because when he got out, it was like supply and demand had, the supply or the demand had gone up. And there wasn't a lot of people that could supply what he could supply, having unlimited access to a line of credit from whoever the fuck he wanted to get it from, right? So he continues with his home based stuff. His friends get in contact with him. He continues to order their stuff there, send it to his parents' house, had the brother do the connect. I believe he might have been giving his brother like a portion of whatever he was making. Like, I'm only going to charge them this. If you want to charge them an extra 50 or 100, you know what I mean? You can do that, whatever. He had it set up to where they both can make money. Or maybe he was paying his brother. I don't know how it was working, but his brother was involved in it because he was getting a cut of whatever money was coming in on the merchandise. So one day I'm at his parents' house. Like I said, his brother and I, we're friends at the time. His mom's there, his father's there, his sister's there. His sister had a son by this time, so his nephew was there. And me and his brother were there. So we're in the house. It's just a regular day. I'm just stopping over there because I was in the area just to catch up with my man's real quick. See what's going on with the family. Whatever new updates. Right. It's getting pretty late in the night. His older brother, he decides that he about to start getting himself ready for bed, or not necessarily for bed, but he kind of want to go take his shower now so that he can have more time to sleep instead of having to wake up early in the morning to go to work or whatever the fuck it was, right? He goes and gets in the shower. um Myself and the rest of the family, we continue doing what we were doing. And then when his brother gets out of the shower, he I guess he goes into his bedroom. And his brother's a big guy. His brother's 300 plus pounds, right? Well, if I had to guess, because he'll never tell you his actual weight. I think he's ashamed of it. If I had to guess, I'd say probably about 320 some odd pounds, 5'10". Just yeah, he's a pretty big guy. This is not solid weight either. Pretty big guy. He's in his room and he's I guess he's drying off or about to dry off. Next thing I know, the motherfucking doors on the house fly off the fucking hinges. Boom! In comes the motherfucking SWAT team, right? Guns trained on everybody. When I say guns, I'm not talking about no fucking 9 millimeters. These motherfuckers came in here toting M4s, like military grade weaponry. They decked out in their SWAT outfits, face masks, all of that shit. They came through the front door. They came through the fucking windows, through the back door. They came through the basement door. Motherfuckers was coming out the closets, out the vents. I think one motherfucker came out the toilet. They was coming from every fucking where, right? Guns trained on everybody. Travis's brother, he has a firearm. So in this particular area at that time, there were a lot of home invasions that were taking place. So his first instinct is this a home invasion. All he heard was his mom scream. So he grabs his firearm and he comes running out into the hallway. 330 pounds in a motherfucking bathroom towel and a firearm in his hand, like he's ready to engage the threat immediately. He don't care about the fact that he's indecent at this present moment. He's ready to engage. He comes out firearm in hand. They immediately put these M4 rifles on him and they like, yo, sir, you need to drop the weapon. You need to get your ass on the floor. And he's kind of stirring for a second, like, hesitant, like he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. I'm already on the floor. Mom and dad's already on the floor. Fucking his sister's on the floor. His nephew's on the floor. They put the fucking dog on the floor. They everything, everybody that was breathing air was on the floor. Now, y'all know one thing about me. If y'all watch any of my videos, the name of this channel is The Real Rayhan. I'm a real nigga. But in that particular moment, I was scared as shit. I didn't know what the fuck was happening or what the fuck was about to happen, right? So anyway, they got everybody on the floor now. And through the front door walks this guy. He walks in and it was like some weird shit. Because when he came in through the door, it was like he was walking in slow motion, right? Like he was the dude. Walks in, and it was like the wind was blowing, like just for him. Like his police jacket was blowing. There was no wind. I don't remember feeling any wind anywhere, but it's like he walked in and all I remember hearing was like that. You guys know that fucking sound. I don't know where it came from, but that's what I remember hearing when he walked in slow motion with the wind blowing just for him, right? And he walks in, he pulls this cigar out of his mouth, fucking taps it, taps the ash on the floor, like you dirty motherfucker. You know what I mean? And says, "So which one of you motherfuckers is Travis?" Now we looking like Travis. The fuck? Travis's father, G, he's like, "Travis don't live here. Why?" And he's like, "Yeah, that motherfucker is charged up quite a bit of money on my credit profile. This motherfucker is a U.S. Marshal." Okay. So through the time that Travis was creating these credit cards and getting access to all these different high credit line accounts, one of them ended up being a U.S. Marshal. Now, if you guys know anything about a U.S. Marshal has federal jurisdiction. They can go anywhere in the country to retrieve you, to extradite you. They're not bound by county or state limits. They can go anywhere. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, this motherfucker has run up quite a substantial amount of money on my credit profile. All of these bogus charges, fucking trips, retail shopping online, a whole lot of stuff. You sure he's not here? Because this is the address that all of the merchandise has been coming to. And they like, Travis don't even live here. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, you let that motherfucker know that I'm going to find him. And when I do, that motherfucker's going to be in jail for a long fucking time. And then the rest of the team rounded up. They searched, did their little quick search to try to identify what they could that was merchandise that was like brand new, but they really couldn't do anything because he wasn't there. They couldn't really confiscate anything, couldn't take anything. You know what I mean? They leave. Travis's brother calls him and gives him the news like, yo, this shit just happened. I don't know what the fuck. You got to stop. You got to find somewhere else to send this shit. You cannot be sending shit to the house no more because these motherfuckers kicked in the door. This motherfucker called you out by name, U.S. Marshal, saying he gonna find you. He don't know where the fuck he gonna find you, bro. It ain't nowhere you can go. He gonna find you. And if y'all know, a U.S. Marshal, he got the access to resources to be able to locate your ass. He already know where your address is. He can find you in connection to that address, right? He gives Travis the word, let him know, hey, you got to chill this shit out. Travis's father's pissed. He's like, you just put my family in a situation where somebody could have died, somebody could have got hurt. You're no longer welcome in this fucking house. You can't come back here ever. You know what I mean? He relayed the message to this. Now, Travis, like I told you, Travis is arrogant. He's not thinking anything of it. I'm under the protection of my mom. My mother's gonna protect me. She's not gonna let you do this and that and the other. But she was kind of with it. She was like, oh hell nah, because that was like in that moment, I gotta be honest with you, I felt like your life was flashing before your eyes. It's like even though it happened so briefly, it felt like an eternity because you didn't know what these motherfuckers were really about to do. So needless to say, after he gets released from jail, this U.S. Marshal made good on his promise. He allocated whatever resources he could to track Travis down in Pennsylvania, because once he got his profile, Travis was already the arrests that had taken place in Pennsylvania, that arrest matched the profile that he was looking for in his home state. So he went up to Pennsylvania because he's got federal jurisdiction. He can go any fucking way to get you, like I just said. He goes up to Pennsylvania, tracks down the fucking address where Travis is based on the police report um, from the arrest where he had all the shit in the back of his trunk, ends up getting Travis again. And actually, this time he catches him again with more merchandise, credit card machine, fraudulent credit cards. I think a list of people's accounts with different credit distributors, Capital Ones, Discover. He got a list with people names on it and their account balance, everything he needed to get the conviction. And Travis went back to jail. This time he went to a federal penitentiary, and he was sentenced to, if I'm not mistaken, was 2 years in a federal penitentiary for I think he had identity theft up there, fraud. It was quite a few charges, but he ended up getting sentenced to, I think, about 2 years up there in jail. And man, that was a wild ass story. And I tell that particular story to let you guys know jealousy is a motherfucker. Now, I know the way this story started off, you guys did not expect it to finish the way that it did. But yes, just from being jealous of his friend's financial elevation through a traumatic period in his friend's life, it motivated him to try to level out the playing field with his friends so that he can stay in the competition. And in that leveling out of the playing field, he resorted to doing something incredibly illegal, and he was getting away with it for quite some time and making money while doing it. So much so that the reason that he started doing it had slipped his mind, and he just continued to do it because he was making wads of cash hands over fists and was able to live this luxurious lifestyle based on other people's lines of credit, which he ultimately found a way to turn into liquid money. Travis went to jail for 2 years. He got disowned by his father. His brother limited communication with him as well because he was hot and he didn't want to be on the phone with somebody who had federal charges where attention could be drawn to him and whatever activity he may have been engaged in, or who he was connected to that was engaged in any type of illegal activity, man. And at the end of the day, none of it was worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am the real Rayhan, and that is another real life story experience that I had in my life, as crazy as that just was. If you guys enjoyed the story, I need you guys to do me a favor and go ahead and smash the like button on this video. If you guys are new to the channel and you like the type of storytelling that I give, I do invite you to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us. And for those of you that are interested in channel memberships, where I offer different perks for being a member, exclusive content to members, and early access to new videos, the link to join my channel membership can be found in the description at the bottom of this video. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this wonderful afternoon for that story time. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.